Hello and welcome to this long-awaited episode of the Compendium of Discomfort. I'm I guess I was called here. Good old Derek said that's great, truly fantastic, but where that Ghost Killer thought that? Yeah, here they are. Ghost Killer today. Ghost Killer. This is Ghost Killer. This is pretty cool. Ghost Killer. Very nice. Very good. Yeah, Ghost Killer. If you don't know, I'm surprised. Yeah, Ghost Killer. Or Ghost Killer. Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah. Good. Happy. Of course, I was had to watch Ghost Killer. Probably the second time I actually went on opening day to the cinema to watch a movie here in Japan. Usually I don't do that because it's crowded and noisy and people are annoying. But yeah, I felt the pressure to go because that was maybe one of my most anticipated movies of this year. Not the best this year, but it has potential to become the best action movie, which is good enough, I guess. Yeah, why most anticipated? You see, that is Akari Takaishi, who is probably one of the busiest actresses this year. She's literally everywhere. And let me move this so we can actually have more Ghost Killer. Because it's the same. No, same. Yeah, no, she's literally everywhere this year. Like, she's just pumping out movie after movie, TV show after TV show. Is super busy in that big NHK morning drama, I think. She's gonna be the lead actress there and all these things. So that's point number 2. Point number 2, the writer for the thing was Yugo Sakamoto. You know, that guy who made Baby Assassins and Baby Assassins Nice Days. So part 3 was the other movie I watched on release day. No, so probably my movie of the year last year. And this was directed not by Sakamoto, but Kensuke Sonomura. And if you know Kensuke Sonomura, you understand why. He's not a big director. This is just his third movie that he actually directed himself. The first one was Hydra, which was maybe different from what other people expected, but still very good, very low budget, not that much action, but showed that he can direct. And the second one was really great. That was Bad City with Hitoshi Ozawa and one actor who doesn't work that much anymore because of certain allegations. Still a great movie, Bad City. So after that, I was really hyped up for this, and especially in this combination, like Takaishi, Sonomura, and Sakamoto. Like, they have proved to be a good team. Some people might have wondered why not Saori Izawa, if it's gonna be an action movie. Obviously it is an action movie. Why not her? First, Takaishi is definitely the bigger star. Much bigger. And she's a real actress, and this movie actually required acting. Who would have guessed? We need acting in a movie. Yeah, for the action, they found a good way to solve the issue that Takaishi isn't the great stunt person that Izawa is, and it worked out very well. So let me just say that in the beginning, the action is as good as you would imagine. I think maybe Baby Assassin's Nice Days is tiny bit better. The big advantage generally the Baby Assassins movies have is the setting where the big fights happen. This one is all a little bit darker. The people wear relatively dark clothes, and I'm not a big fan of that. It's very realistic. It's very gritty and rough. But I prefer the style they chose for Baby Assassins with relatively colorful clothing and relatively bright settings that worked very well. So you can see it even more clearly. But that's just a tiny issue people might have with the action. I didn't really feel it's distracting. It could just have been a tiny bit more like clear to see. Yeah, but it's good. Anyway, let's talk a tiny bit more about the cast, and then we will get to everything else. As I mentioned, we have Akari Takaishi in the lead role, together with Masanori Mimoto, who is mostly a stunt performer who turned acting. And I think the first time I really noticed him as the frog guy in Yakuza Apocalypse. And he was in quite a lot of movies. For example, he was in Ikitete Yokata, I'm Glad to Be Alive, a few years ago, which I enjoyed very much. He was in Reborn. He was completely wasted in 1%. He was the villain, or one of the villains in Baby Assassins. A lot of other movies. But always good to see him. Very, very good guy. Then we have Mario Kuroba, who hasn't done all that much, at least not that much famous. I saw him for the first time in Sadako DX, which I think was not all that great. But then he was in Hard Days by my favorite director, Michihito Fuji. At least I think that's still his best movie. So yeah. Then we have Hidenobu Abeda, who hasn't done all that much acting, but he did a very, very terrible movie that's called Japanese Style. It was delayed by, I think, like 2 years or something. I think the pamphlets that you usually have to buy for about 1,000 yen you got for free. And there was a big talk event in the cinema, and it still wasn't sold out. And then I watched the movie, and this is really, really, really bad. But at least he didn't do anything bad in this movie. He acted just, and I didn't really notice anything terrible about him. And then we have Satoshi Kibe, who's mostly a stunt guy. He was in Baby Assassins, Nice Days, Hydra, and Dark Child. Here, the short movie by Reiki Tsuno with Ayane. And I think, that's the guy I'm think of. I think that's the guy in Baby Assassins in the hotel who they fight there, and he's back here, if I'm not completely wrong. Anyway, a good dude. Then with Ryu Ichinose, who was in Baby Assassins, Nice Days, and the Gesuidos. So far, my favorite movies this year still Gesuidos. Watch it if you can. We have Naohiro Kawamoto, another action stunt dude who was in Hydra, Death Trance, and Bushido Man. I still haven't watched Bushido Man, but Death Trance is very entertaining, very fun, pretty good. Oh, and he played the Flying Vampire number 2. We have Inoue Soda, who was in The Lines That Define Me, which was a pretty solid calligraphy movie, and why not? Then we have the whole like more cameo cast. We have Yasukaze Motomiya, who was the main villain in Baby Assassin, so the Yakuza daddy. And he was, for example, in Graveyard of Honor, he was in Outrage Coda, he was in Bad City, he was in a lot of movies. And one thing that came up with these people who have cameos here is a movie series that's called Nihon Toitsu, so the unification of Japan. And I sometimes run across this title, and it's like a movie series with, I think, 67 titles or so. So it's really, really long. And 68 is the newest one, I think. Crazy. A lot of people who appeared here have been in this Yakuza movie series. I think someday I will have to watch it. It's all on Unext, the Japanese streaming service. Sounds good to me. Looks pretty cheap, but I will at least take a look. But I'm sure if I end up watching all, I have a whole lot of new faces in my Letterboxd statistics, like most watched actors and so on. Really funny. Then we have Yoshiyuki Yamaguchi, who was in that same series, but he was, for example, in Gozu, Dead or Alive, or Battles Without Honor and Humanity, and what am I saying? Not Battles Without Honor and Humanity, A Blade of the Immortal. I'm going crazy. But he was in Baby Assassin's Nice Days and Every Day as well. Had a small role there. Then we have Yoshimi Tachi, who was in a lot of Yakuza movies, this series too, and some other stuff. Most famous is Ju-on Black Ghost, which I haven't watched it. And we have Takashi Kitadai, who was, for example, in Blade of the Immortal, or my favorite movie, The Fighter Pilot, but he has another Sakamoto connection because he was in A Janitor and this weird Yakuza movie series. We have Tatsuya Nakazawa, same lots of Yakuza movies, mostly this one series, and Ghost Killer. Then we have Hiroto Honda, Outrage Coda, for example, and Yakuza movies, lots of Yakuza movies. Kenta Kawasaki, same, lots of Yakuza movies. Very funny, this unification of Japan. I've got to give it a try. Looks really fascinating. Anyway, what's this one? A Ghost Killer. By the way, co-produced with by is the correct word here. Will Go USA, so US release is basically guaranteed. So yeah, lucky West, I guess. So they were looking for something that's like typical Japanese and action and sellable, and this happened. So that's very good. So looks pretty good, the movie. So not too cheap, at least. Most certainly not very expensive, but like compared to Hollywood standards, Japanese cinema is always cheap. But anyway, so basically this is a ghost story. Who would have guessed if when the title is Ghost Killer? Wow. Professional killer gets killed, and the back of the bullet, like this capsule that holds the actual bullet, with the bullet that killed him, the back part, escapes the place of his death and rolls around until a young woman, played by Akari Takaishi, finds it and picks it up, and suddenly she can see a guy standing in her apartment and freaks out because there's a guy in her apartment who would like that. As it turns out, it's a ghost and he can possess her, and take control of her body, and since he is a super fighter, professional killer, he can do stuff that she can't do, and that's sometimes very useful. And of course, he wants revenge. Who would have guessed? So they work together a little bit, especially since her friend gets beaten by her boyfriend. Yeah, not a very nice boyfriend, it seems. And that's the first time she accepts his offer for help. And it keeps going. And in the end, they fight a big Yakuza gang. And we have a big spectacular action finale. And that's basically it. It's not 100% comedy, not 100% serious. I mean, it's action comedy like we used to from like good old Hollywood times when I still watched Hollywood movies. Like you've got something to laugh about, you have some good lines, you have some very cute lines, and overall it's still a relatively serious story with a pretty serious core. What's interesting, of course, number one selling point. Let's talk about the action. We've been here for like 15 minutes and still haven't talked about the action for the most part. It's of course very, very good. Sonomura does very, very good action scenes. So it's all very typical Sonomura. But here, compared to Baby Assassins, by the way, this was shot between Nice Days and Every Day, so between the last movie and the TV show, and here it's all more weapon-based, more shooting. Some other stuff gets used to hurt people, which is very fun and very good, and at least a little bit different. So in Baby Assassins, usually during the fight scenes you don't have all that much shooting, and here you have a pretty crazy combination. And because they wanted to contrast Takaishi's like normal character with the sudden skill that she has, they trained her to not fight in an like aesthetically pleasant movie, like stylized movie fight style, but a very direct, brutal, realistic way. So so you have the stronger contrast between her normal university student personality and suddenly this older gentleman who comes through and wants to kill people. And there we get some very interesting quirks of this whole story, because of course, while she is possessed by him, what she can do is still talk. So she all the time she has to switch between the two personalities and basically talks with herself, which she does very well. So that's the part where we actually need some acting skill. Sorry, Miss Izawa, I'm not sure you would have been able to pull that off as good. But you would have done probably better action. But even around this action problems, they got around quite well. So first, when you see her perform the action scenes, I think, I think they helped a little bit with camera and editing and stuff, so she doesn't have to do too crazy things. So you have overall faster editing, maybe a little bit more close-ups. And later, when we get to the big action scenes, they do something very obvious but very smart, as they just switch the actors out. So we don't see her possessed by the ghost, but we see the ghost who just fights, which is very logical and very good idea, because Mr. Mimoto is a much, much better fighter than she is. which is sometimes a bit weird. Just one reason, he is obviously taller and larger in general, so every time you see it, you must imagine, okay, actually this person is much smaller, which is sometimes a bit, and of course, because the action gets more serious near the end, because we get near the big finale, of course, he or she takes more hits and gets very brutally attacked, and you see that acted by a man, but you still have in your mind, oh, that's actually a young woman, and I don't know, it's a no. It makes it a little bit harder to watch, but that's very good, because even though it has a lot of comedic elements, overall this movie completely lacks the Baby Assassin's typical or Sakamoto typical, like I always say, it's a very casual violence. Like, especially in Sakamoto's old movies, there's just violence, brutal stabbing, and what else just happening in a very light, casual way. It's just something that happens. I mean, in like Kunioka or Baby Assassin, it makes sense because we're in this professional killer world. Totally okay, but it basically never has any real consequences. I mean, in Baby Assassins, we get slightly away from this complete lack of empathy, and it gets a little bit more troublesome to just kill people. And that was one thing that annoyed me first time in Baby Assassins 2, a little bit near the end. If you know how it ends, you might understand what I mean. I wasn't too happy about the heartless cruelness that's being displayed there at the end. And here, especially, like, let's say you have an action scene, you have a fight, and Takaishi's character gets her control back. The ghost exits her body, and she's like terrified of what happened. Her hands hurt, and she can't really comprehend all of this. And whenever people get killed, the ghost will tell her, hey, don't watch that, don't look at that. And I think that's something that sometimes lacked a bit in Sakamoto's movies, and I like it here very, very much. Another interesting thing is this whole concept that he can only enter her body when she allows it. He needs her consent. Who would have guessed that men need consent to enter a woman's body? It's very like, you know what I mean, yeah? That's a very good thing, especially as we get to one scene. There's like one guy who she meets to get, like basically some kind of connections or work or something. She wants to be in the entertainment industry or something. So she meets this creepy guy at a bar, and the bartender there is this hotel guy from Baby Assassin's Nice Days. And anyway, so she meets him. He's super disgusting, super creepy. He sucks on cinnamon sticks and stuff. And it's obvious he wants to sleep with her, and she doesn't. And it's a bad match. Anyway, he gets her to go there again because he has some guy who she wants to meet, and here I'm hanging out with this dude, come over, let's hang out, just the three of us. And she's too curious to not go, so she goes, but our little ghost, I think his name is Kudo. Yes, his name is Kudo. Mr. Kudo says, I know these guys, they are not good. They will give you drugs and do stuff with you that you don't want. And she doesn't believe him, but she's like, okay, if something like that happens, we will see, but I'll go and check. And of course that stuff happens. And yeah, basically we have this situation where she is being drugged so people can do things with her without her consent, and she decides to give consent to this other guy to completely lose control of her body, which is a really, really pretty crazy situation. But I think it works out very well. Like, the team of these two is never in any way romantic. It's all just like, she's the boss. He has his goal that he wants to do, but she decides. She has the saying here. She says yes or no, and that's all he can ask for. And I think that's a good way to present these things. And it's very, very nice and kind. And the actual love story here is just another bromance, pretty much. So at some point they meet this other killer. They get in a situation where they need his help. And it just turns out that he is basically in love with Kudo. Yeah. Then the funny thing is that these two cannot communicate. I mean, the still living killer can talk and Kudo can hear it, but he can't really respond. So there's always like, she's always in the middle and has to translate basically, or has to do the communication for them. And that's really fun. First, I wasn't sure how this triangle actually worked out. Wasn't it a little bit too much getting the other guy in there? Does it all make sense? Isn't this body dynamic between her and Kudo enough? No, I think it's actually pretty well done, and gives the characters a little bit more depth, and it works pretty well. And you get one more guy who can actually do some action there. So no, that's all good. That's all fun. I think overall the story might have been a little unfocused. So especially Sakamoto's earlier movies are all very unfocused, and there's stuff happens. We get to the main point, and here it's a little bit like that. So we have the story with her friend, then we have the story with this disgusting guy in the bar, and then slowly we get to the main point. Some people complain that this movie has bad pacing issues, and I wouldn't call it bad pacing issues, but it's a bit, it seems a bit unfocused, but I can totally imagine if I watch it again, it won't feel like that. I have that with Sakamoto a few times. I just had it with Nemuru Baka, where I watched it the first time. I was like, didn't perfectly work, or maybe it did. The second time was much better, and I think this might get better too. For me in general, I mean, if I watch a movie in Japanese without subtitles, I'm very focused on trying to understand what's going on, because I can usually understand, but that's all can be difficult sometimes depending on what kind of Japanese is being used and how they talk and stuff like that. So I'm a little bit focused more on just understanding what's going on. So usually second time is much more relaxed because I already know what's going on. So I really want to rewatch it, but I think some of these issues might just disappear. No, but I can understand if some people feel like, oh, there's some stuff going on, and then you get this whole, like, backstory for these two dudes, and yeah, that's what I mean when I said I'm wasn't 100% sure how smart it was to get this second guy in there, but I think it's probably fine, and the action just fixes everything anyway. I recently just watched here the Yellow Dragon's Village from the wonderful TerraVision Blu-ray. Comes with Visitors by Mr. Ugana, which is a really fun movie too. If you are interested in more like entertaining action, horror, comedy stuff, get this disc. I think it's very limited to 1,000 or so, but it's a very nice disc. And there's an interview on the disc where Sakamoto says something like, the script isn't the most important thing in an action movie. And I would say he's totally right. And I think here the script is pretty good. It's maybe not perfect. There's maybe some stuff going on. There's a little bit, if you want to complain, it's a little bit. No, but I think the characters work very well. They play well together. Like this whole dynamic between her and Kudo, this whole thing was like a line, something like, I don't care what you did before, but from now on you're basically a hero or something like that. So how she tries to pull him out of this professional killer mindset into a nicer mindset and make him a little bit, I don't know, maybe Sakamoto watched a little bit too much Terminator 2, I don't know. But I think here it works very well. And speaking of Sakamoto and his influences, I read an interview where he talked about his influences for buddy movies, because most of the stuff he does are buddy movies. Yeah, like Baby Assassins, buddy movie, Nemuro Baka, buddy movie, Ghost Killer, buddy movie, all like buddy movies. And he said two influences. I remember one is Bad Boys, of course, and the other one was a Battleship. I haven't watched Battleship, but I can't believe that anyone would name Battleship as a big influence on their work. Cool, whatever. Maybe just because of this, someday I will have to watch Battleship. Don't know if I want that, but yeah. And he's a big Doraemon fan, so that's another interesting thing that he talked about. Like he said, in Japan, many filmmakers are very fixated on this idea of human drama, so serious social commentary or something like that. And he wants more manga-esque fantasy stuff, and I think that's a good idea, a good approach. And another thing that I thought was very interesting in the interview here was him saying that he can't do horror because you would need too much budget, and you would have to be really serious, and with action he can be more fun, more entertaining, and seemingly he doesn't need the budget for action. Okay. Actually here, Yellow Dragon's Village, he didn't have an action director, he did it himself, and he had a stunt coordinator who then did the new City Hunter movie. I think it's on Netflix, and Demon City. So a good guy. Anyway, back to Ghost Killer. So I think it all worked very well here with the characters. The action is fantastic. The whole dynamic between the characters works well. This bromance reminded me a lot of like this typical heroic bloodshed. We're heterosexual, but we love each other more than we could ever love a woman style. no idea. It's really good. Gives all of it a little bit drama. Takaishi said in an interview too that she always had to think, like, each scene, is it more comedy or more drama, and then she switched. And of course she had the challenge to play a middle-aged grumpy man. Did a good job. Like I said, this switch to him in the more complicated action stuff works very well. She does her action scenes quite well, I would say. You don't really feel like she's not capable of doing it. Like I said, maybe a little bit more help by camera and editing. But she gets it, especially when it comes to the poses and stuff between the moves. She does it really well. There's like a scene where she fights with a dart, and like how she moves it around and holds it. Looks very intimidating, and I think she can do that. I don't think she will do much action soon. Well, seemingly she does a lot of other stuff, especially like the TV shows. And I guess she's more she's gonna get more roles like romance and stuff, and that's fine. But I would like to see her doing more action, of course. I mean, new baby assassins would be lovely. I will take it any time. Anything else to say about Ghost Killer? I don't think we need a big spoiler section because the whole story isn't what really drives the plot. What am I talking about? No, the most important thing is, of course, the action. There's quite a lot of it. It's very good, of course. The story is maybe the weakest part of it, to be fair, but I think the fun characters mostly make up for it. And I was just a little bit sad. At some point we have this scene where a lot of like gangsters just come in and go out and don't show up again. And there was some that's the cameo crew who are just there to disappear. And that made me a little bit sad, but it makes a point of about one of the villains. And I think it's overall very good movie, and I want to watch it again, and enjoy the action more. If you come for the action, this is the right choice. I was wondering, just one last tangent. I was wondering how people would react to Sakamoto's Nemuru Baka, because most people who watch his stuff came for baby assassins, and I don't know how they will react to something that's that different. Like the older stuff might work for some people. I think for many it will be too gory and too cynical or nihilistic or whatever, too mean, too nasty to work. But I think Nemuru Baka has basically no action. So I don't know how many people actually come for Sakamoto, how many people actually just came for the girls, how many people just came for the action. Will be interesting to see. If I had to choose Nemuru Baka or this one, it's really difficult. I have to rewatch this one. It's a tough fight. But if you come for the girls, at least here you get one. In the other one you get two, but different ones. I'm not sure how well that translates to the Baby Assassins fan base. And here you get Sonomura with the action. And let's see how many people will be like, oh yeah, I like this, or how many people actually will go for Nemuru Baka. Of course, if it even gets released in the West, nobody knows. no idea if that gets enough attention to get a release. I mean, this one guaranteed. So I'm pretty sure people who like baby assassins will enjoy this, even though Takaishi's character is very normal compared to Chisato, who is just crazy. No, this one is very normal. It was very enjoyable to see Takaishi play a normal character again. I'm so used to her just freaking out all the time and making weird dog walking noises. So this was really nice to see her in a relatively normal role, not like playing a middle-aged grumpy man. But yeah, it's good. And where did I want to go here? Happy to see this. I don't know. I completely lost my train of thought. But it's good to see her in normal roles. It's good to see Masanori Mimoto in a bigger role. I wish he would do more bigger roles in more action movies. I generally wish that we get more Japanese action movies. But I mean, if this one does well enough, I'm pretty sure Well Go USA will be interested in maybe co-producing more. And Rights Cube, the company who mainly did that and pitched it to Well Go USA, seems to be very interested in publishing their movies abroad. So I guess there might be a fun collaboration possible again if this one does well. So why not? Yeah, I am completely lost in my rambling here. So it's a very good movie. Watch it if you can. Thank you. Bye. Okay, here we are. I've got stress. Okay,